To actually be successful, you have to believe that you can have success and that you deserve it. One of the things I realized in my life is that I've been building this lifestyle and all of my dreams for a very long time, and these are the things I've done to know I could be successful.
I'm Meg Epstein, a real estate developer, a wife, and a mother of 4. I've completed 10 different commercial development projects ranging in size from 10 million to 100 million. On this channel, I tell you all about the journey and the lessons I've learned along the way.
I think everyone in a young age has some sense of core purpose or interests. And for me, that was always architecture and aesthetics and honestly, like success. I was raised with my mom, who was a single mom at the time, and I had a dad who was successful, but we didn't live together all the time, so I used to go every other weekend to his house. So I had, different lifestyles, but I spent a lot of time with my mom, and we would always go and dream, and she would take me driving in really nice, beautiful neighborhoods, and I loved looking at beautiful houses. And when we lived in LA, she actually used to take me through Beverly Hills and Bel Air to go look at the beautiful houses. And then, 10 years later, I ended up going to college at UCLA, and then after school, I got a job building a mega mansion in Bel Air. So it was kind of hilarious, but I believed very early on at a young age that I could have those things. And even though I had no idea how I was going to get there, it's where I ended up 10 years later, which is just kind of the way the universe works, I think. I'm very fortunate to have very encouraging parents and family that never really put a cap on my dreams or ever told me, there was a limit to what I could do. And I think that's probably something that not everybody has. And so I was very fortunate, but if you're a young person listening, it's something that you can instill for yourself. My mom, even though we didn't have a lot, would spend time with me dreaming and drawing dream houses with me and letting me create whatever I wanted and, telling me I could do what I wanted to do. My dad was always very encouraging that I could have my own company one day if I worked hard, and that having financial success was a key to having freedom. And he always emphasized that. And for me, that's how I thought about money. It wasn't like, oh, I need to have these flashy things and I need to have a Rolls Royce or something. That's never what's made me tick. I don't want to have a lot of stuff, but I want freedom of choices, and money gives you that. Money gives you your time back. Money gives you the ability to go do and live wherever you want. And so that was always what was a motivation for me. If your family's unsupportive, they're your family. They're going to be your family. But realize that a lot of times people put their own failures on you. If they didn't succeed at achieving their dreams, then they're just assuming, even if they don't mean to, they could be completely great people, but they're just assuming that you're also not going to be able to achieve your dreams. And I've seen so many people that had no business surviving or no business being as successful as they became, but they just honestly believed it. One of my very favorite people in the world that I met at my very first job site was a guy that was parentless. He was an orphan in Mexico, I think kind of raised by semi-gangs in Mexico, moved to Los Angeles and started working at a site, like a grading company, ended up starting his own concrete company. When I met him, he was doing millions and millions of dollars worth of work on the house that I had started building when I was out of college. I was building this $60 million house. He probably did $5 million worth of foundations and site work and all these things. And he had a beautiful home and a beautiful wife, and he patented a device for pouring the freeways in Los Angeles. I don't know if you guys realize how many freeways there are in LA, but he was like one of the preferred contractors. So he did so well and came from absolutely nothing, but it was all about his attitude. And I'm not saying that's all it takes, it doesn't, but it is the first step, knowing that you can succeed and knowing that you can achieve your dreams, because so many people just stop themselves before they even get started. When I was young, I just completely thought that I could live in any one of those houses in Bel Air, like, because my mom drove me by them, and I was like, oh, I could definitely, that's where I'm gonna live. Like, and then I ended up building one, which was random. And I remember like people telling me that, you know, oh, it's 2008 and you can't get a great job right now. And, you know, everybody was like, you're going into construction? Like, construction's completely dead right now. It's 2008. And I was just like completely oblivious that the world was melting out around me. I mean, it was sort of like a little ridiculous in some ways, but it's like, don't listen to the naysayers. I mean, you just can't. There's so many, you know? And if you wait, you'll just never get anywhere if you listen to people that are negative. If you have an unsupportive environment, you just have to stay true to your own goals and look at the great entrepreneurial journeys. And it's not for everybody, but if it is for you, look to the people that have made it and find out what they're doing. Don't listen to the people that didn't make it or don't have the life that you want. That's what I would say. One thing about real estate is there's a pretty low barrier to entry. There's a lot of people that can get into it. It's not like being an attorney or being a doctor where you have to go through a certain amount of schooling. And I think the biggest thing is making sure that you're being really honest with people, being upfront. I am always very honest with my investors, and I think that's given me the ability to raise capital, because even if something's bad, I'm like, it's bad, and this is what I would do, or we're gonna do. But I never hide things. And I think when people hide things in business, it causes them to retract in that area, if you will. So when people are dishonest, I think it makes them unable to expand. And I think that that's given me a really strong sense of expansion, because I feel like I know who I am, I know what I'm doing, I'm being perfectly honest about it, and no one can attack me for that. What I've seen with people is if they're doing something in their life that is shady, that it affects other areas of their life. And I'm in a lot of higher circles now, and you know, there's a lot of successful people that cheat on their spouses or lie in business or, you know, have unhealthy habits or illegal habits or things like that. And I've just seen that spiral into other areas of your life. And so, you know, if you're just starting out, like, I think there's a certain bottom line level of ethics that is a baseline for being successful and honest and being happy. I've spent a lot of time doing my own spiritual counseling. I have a lot of work-life balance, exercising, eating well, taking care of myself, educating myself. I'm constantly reading and gaining knowledge. And I think that investing in yourself and spending that time is really key. And people that might have one area going well, if another's not, they always end up merging. I've seen a lot of people, even if they are successful, quote unquote, they're really unhappy. And so what's the point of that? Having a bigger purpose, whatever it is for you, whether it's like a philanthropic purpose or a dream that you've had, or it's your family, or whatever it is super important, because when you do become successful, you get to a point where if your basic needs are met, there becomes a point, and I've seen this many times with the super wealthy people I've worked with, being in a place like Los Angeles where things are very materialistic. And, you know, maybe the first Ferrari made them happy and that was like some milestone, but by the third and the fourth, they're pretty miserable because they realize that just having a bunch of stuff doesn't make you happy. You have to have that purpose. Do you have immigrant parents that you are making proud and you're helping your family and you're giving your children opportunity? You know, do you have some philanthropic drive that's you want to donate to? Like, whatever it is, it's important to find that early on, and I think it can really help drive your success, because if you don't have that, becoming financially successful isn't that hard in America. What do you do when you get that? We just went through, very slow years where I'm going, gosh, at everything I work for, am I going to be able to do big projects again? And obviously I pushed through that now, but at the time I was very grateful for the bigger picture, like my health and my family and my philanthropic goals, because so many people have it worse than I do. And I'm really grateful for everything I have. And I think that if you think that your purpose is to make money, I feel bad for you. Just having a very clear sense of your goals and having it somewhere visual is really important. I love vision boards. It seems a little like woo-woo and like 14-year-old girl, but I know a lot of people that I've worked for, and I think it's really important to have what you're working towards present, especially if times get tough. Even if it's like, I want to have a chicken coop, just put a picture of a chicken coop somewhere. Like, it doesn't have to be, building an empire. But I have put all of the things that I want my life to look like, even having things like time with my kids. I mean, that is part of my vision and that I've built into my life, not just having a beautiful house. So I think delineating your goals, holding yourself accountable, working with a partner on them, or a friend or a parent, putting it somewhere where it's visible and then revisiting it daily if you can, has been a big part of making me successful in achieving mine. It can definitely be really rough out there, but believing you can have it will definitely help you make it happen. If you want to hear more about how I tactically lay out my goals, please watch this next video.